Give me a thumbs up. All right. Yeah, I got a couple thumbs up, but it must be good. Oh, maybe not. Everybody can hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, great. Hey guys, welcome, welcome. Happy Tuesday. Lots of people out there at home and lots of people in Kent and lots of us here in Vegas. We just say welcome, welcome, welcome. A couple announcements before we get started over there in Kent. Number one, Happy New Year. We have a couple dates we want to make sure that are on your calendar for 2024. Let's make sure on your calendar is 2 dates marked. That is May 11th. Our 5th annual Walk and Run for Recovery is happening. It's Mother's Day weekend on that Saturday. It's in Auburn. We want you all there. There's lots of walkers and there's the competitive people that run. So anything in between, you are invited. It's going to be a huge event. So we hope you'll save the date now. Information to come. We're actually meeting as a team. I'll be flying into Seattle on Thursday and be there a week. And the team is going to be meeting and we're going to get things started. You'll by February 1st, you will, can you spotlight us? Yes, I can. Let's see, is that good? Yeah, Kent near spotlight. Okay, there we go. So we're gonna get things rolling probably by February 1st. We're gonna get the word out and all the details for Run for Recovery. Number 2 is November 9th. That's gonna be our 7th annual auction, our big dinner auction. And it's our 10th anniversary year, you guys, in 2024. So it's going to be an extra big year. So we hope y'all will put both those dates on the calendar and plan to be here with us. Even if you're far away, plan to join us in Seattle. So more information to come on both of those. And then tomorrow, 11 a.m., all of you ladies, please join us. We fondly call ourselves the Mob, Moms of Battlefields. It's for all ladies, grandmas, aunts, girlfriends, all the above. If you're a female, you are invited. We have mom's group every Wednesday, 11 a.m. It's just a 1-hour coffee date. We have our coffee together via Zoom. So no matter where you're at. And it's just an opportunity to get to know each other more, talk about the topic from the night before. It's been really, really great. And we've had the last couple weeks off because of the holidays and we've really missed our mom time. So definitely look forward to seeing you ladies tomorrow at 11 a.m. If you need the Zoom link, just reach out to me and I will get it to you and we'll see you in the morning. And with that, let's move over to the Kent house. We don't have our comedy tonight. Hopefully Kyle will be back next week for that. But we're just going to go straight to Art. How you doing over there, Art? Let's see if we can hear you. You on the screen. Oh, there's a second camera. Oh, I see. Let's see. Oh, sorry. Let me figure out what Nico's trying to say to me here. Okay, got it. Thank you.
On my head.
Let me find. I'm out of practice. It's a whole new year. Arts and Kent. I'm here. I'm a little out of practice. So here we go. I see Arts. Now I'm going to take everybody else off spotlight here. I got to talk myself through all these little steps here because I'm so out of practice. See, this is what happens when we take 2 weeks off.
I just found it in my space and still had the tags on it. Angie put it in there.
Oh yeah. Did you all saw the tag?
I pulled it out and it was a shirt, so I put it on. It was full.
Yeah, I didn't take the tags off. I just wanted to make sure they work.
I have a confession to make before we start, Angie.
What's that?
I've been eating a lot of fried foods. I mean, today I've had.
Tell me you ate pizza tonight, Andy.
Oh, Tyler's telling on me. Winston, he's telling on me right now. He wanted me to just point out that I had pizza tonight.
Oh.
Yeah. I totally cheated. I just figured, what's one more day into the new year, I guess. It was her idea too. It was my idea. It's a really bad idea, but I did that. I did do that. We'll have to try again tomorrow.
At the Spot Tavern, they've got a fried sampler. You can get chicken wings, chicken strips, French fries, cheese sticks, and jalapeno poppers all in the same meal. Although now I can't really breathe very well. So walking up the stairs is a little hard. does that as you get older. Tyler, you gonna get a chair?
Yeah.
All right. Make me think the cops are here. So. I want to get pinched. I went out with some friends. You know, when you go out with some friends from high school, so New Year's, and I flew back in town. So I meet up with some friends from high school, and again, that was my second trip to the spot. So that was the other day, and then I'm in a hotel right by the spot, so I keep going there for the food. But I met my friends there too, and had them come down on New Year's Day, and we sat and talked. And you know, we're in Vegas, and for those of you that are new, or for people that don't know on here, we've been doing this for about 12 years. So I got sober 12 years ago. I didn't have no skills, didn't know what I was going to do with my life. You know, you're really behind at 37 years old, and you don't know what are you going to do. Am I going to go start a new career, go back to college or anything? But I did know one thing. I did know what I wanted. I wanted to hang out with people that were also in recovery, and I wanted to talk about life. And when I got sober, I was very, very interested in what happened to me, what this was all about. I was interested in why was I in so much pain, and why was other people not in that pain, and I wanted to find out what got me to the place that I came in life, what got me here. So I was vigorous in reading and vigorous in meetings, and I went to church, and I went to church, man. I mean, I don't go to church anymore, but I went to church, and people that know me know I don't go to church, but I was that desperate. So I want to tell you, when I was with those friends, one of the questions I kept asking them, because they were talking, we've been friends for 30 years, all of us, 40 years. And, you know, when you get together with friends that you've been with for 40 years, you just get together, and it's not like nothing's happened. It's not like it's the same. You're right back in it with them. You just click into like the friendship. And what I noticed was I kept asking them like question. I kept saying, what is this all for? When does it happen? And they go like, what do you mean, Art? And I go like, when do we get there? We're doing all this stuff, and I'm at the age where I'm trying to figure out, when is it the good time? When is it the time that we're done with all this shit? Like, when is it the time that I get to just be happy? When is the time that I just get to be free? And I kind of asking that, what are we doing? Well, one thing I noticed was that when we talked, well, first I'll tell you this. I want to explain to you the best moment of my life. And I was 37 years old when I quit drugs, and my father told me I had to quit drugs or I wasn't going to be part of the family anymore. And he was very serious, and it was true. And he said, go get in that bedroom in this house right in there and detox. And he said, don't come out of that room. Or if you come out of that room, if you come bother me again, or if you want some Suboxone or you want some drugs or some kind of shit, just get away from me and never come back. And so I knew he was serious. So I did what he said. And I went and detoxed in the room that somebody right now is in there detoxing, the same room. And somebody right now, as we speak, is doing the same thing. And I did 17 days in that room before I came out, and I threw up and did all that stuff. And I'm telling you this because I've noticed something, but I came out and I sat in the living room, and I began to stare out at the wall or out the window. And as I stared out the window, I began to think. I was 37. And now this is the best moment of my life. And I was 37 years old, and I was just swallowing this pill of my life, everything. And as I began to think about what my life had become and how I got here and how I had no friends left and how my family didn't trust me and how my dad was mad at me and everyone was mad at me and I didn't have a job and I didn't have any money and I had 80K in debt and I didn't have a career and I didn't have anything, a girlfriend, I didn't have nothing. And I sat there in that chair and I began to tears began to stream down my face. And I was just bawling. And my father simultaneously, who had COPD and congestive heart failure. And at the time he had 7 months to live, but I didn't know it. And he walked out with his oxygen tank, and he came out and he sat there at the stairway because he had to stop there so that he could breathe and he could catch his breath. So he stopped and he started Oh, he started breathing like that. You could hear when he was trying to get rid of the carbon dioxide out of his lungs, and he would breathe it out. And so he sat there and I could hear him breathing. And I was staring out there contemplating my life and about what I'd become and how I got here and what the hell just happened to me in my life. And I was swallowing the pill of how it is. Like I was sitting there like, this is how it is. And I was in that reality. And he began simultaneously to berate me. And I'm telling you the story because I remembered it last night. And he began to berate me. He began to call me names. He said, "You're a piece of shit." He said, "What are you going to do now, you piece of shit? What are you going to do with your life? Are you going to just wait and sit around this house and rob me and your mom again? What is it that you're going to do? You're going to lie to me some more? What are you just saving up and resting up? So when you get a little rest, you're going to go get some drugs and start lying to me?" And he was berating me, and he didn't see that I was tearing up. He couldn't see my face. And I was experiencing all of it, the entirety of what would happen if someone used drugs for 20 years and couldn't stop. And then still, after all that time, all I wanted to do was go use drugs. And I'm just sitting there experiencing this reality, and he's berating me. And finally, I turn around and I look at him, and the tears are running down my eyes. And I said, he's seeing me, and I said, "What do you want from me, Dad? You want me to tell you that I'm a piece of shit? I am. You want me to tell you that I can't fucking stop lying? I can't. You want me to tell you that I don't know how to live? I don't." And I said, "I don't know what the fuck to do, and I just need you to help me." And he looked at me and smiled. He said, the anger left, and he just looked at me, and he just said, "That's all you had to say, son." And he did. He helped me from that moment on. I did everything he said, and I followed his direction, and that's how I got sober, and he got me sober. And I tell you all that because after 37 years of living, I'm telling you that moment was the best moment of my life. And that this moment right now is a good moment in my life. And I'm telling you why. And the reason that I came up with, because you guys got to know what we live in, me and Angie, and how we live with all these families. And we live in the center of all these families going through everything they're going through, and all the pain that's surrounding us, and all the pain that comes to us. And our life is just this pain source, and everybody's coming and they're in pain and they're coming around us, and they're at these moments in their life. But the reason that was the best moment of my life is because right then I clicked into how it was. You see, when I'm with my friends, what I noticed was when we talk about the past, we don't talk about how it should have been. We never sit there and talk about how it should have been. We talk about how it was. And we sit there and we talk about how it was, and we talk about how we were, and we talk about, and it's good when we talk about how we were and what it was like and how it was. I've known hundreds and hundreds of people that have lost their kids to addiction. They never talk about how their kids should have been, not once. They never come and go, "Art, my kids should have been this way. My kids should have been that way. My kids shouldn't have been this way." They come and they say, "My kid was this way, and I loved them." They talk about how their kid was, not how they should have been. And so I started realizing where all this pain is coming from. This pain that everyone's suffering from. We're not suffering from pain in life. We're suffering from a disagreement. We're suffering from this disagreement between how it is and how we think it should be. And so now when we're living and me and my friends get together, I noticed that we don't talk about how it is. We talk about how it should be. And I noticed that this pain is showing up and everybody's not talking about how it is. And I noticed a lot of people get high in this program. And when they get high in this program, they don't ever put their head in their hands and cry and say, "I can't believe I got high again." They want to talk about how it should be, and they want to talk about what it looks like. So people now become more worried about what it looks like than how it is. And I say in the moments of my life where I'm really living, the moments that I'm experiencing life, it's always and the most happy. See, I wasn't in pain when I was sitting up there. It might have looked like I was in pain when I was tearing up about what my life had become, and swallowing the pill of what it was, and swallowing the pill of how it is. That's not pain. That's life. In that moment, I tell you, it was the best moment of my life because I was living. I was feeling, living, actually sitting, clicked into the seat. For the first time in 20 years, I was sitting down in how it is. I was with it right there. Me and how it is meet. And in these moments in our life that are good, it's just us and how it is. It's not us and how it should be. It's not us and how it shouldn't be. It's us and how it is. And so when you're experiencing joy, it's because it's you and how it is. And when you're experiencing life, even sadness and grief, and another great moment of my life was waking up in King County Jail, sober, detoxing. Because guess what? I still remember it because in everyone that's done it, everyone that's woken up in jail, detoxing, what happened is you woke up and it is how it is. There's not how it should be. There's not nothing. There's just how it is. And when we're living how it is, we are living. And that's not where the pain lies. You see, all this pain. So what do we do with families? What do we do? Well, we try to end the disagreement. You see, your family's suffering because there's a disagreement between how it is and how it should be. And there's a disagreement between how my parents are and how they should be. And there's a disagreement between how my kid is and how he should be. And everybody's suffering not from what's happening. They're suffering from the disagreement about what's happened. So everyone is suffering and the pain is coming from this disagreement. And we sit here and they go, Art, what do? I end the disagreement. I say, look at each other. I say, they are how they are. And we got this pressure. So we're down in Vegas and we deal with this pressure because there's money and there's time and people are spending money. And then everyone wants an update. How is it? How are they? Are they changing? Are they transforming? Is it happening? Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. You know, can I get an update? Can I get this? Can I get that? They're changing, right? They're not how they are anymore, right? They're getting better, right? But when you lose your kid, it's not going to be about when people lose their kid, when people die, when we lose our loved ones, we never talk about how they should have been. Me and my friends didn't talk about how our past should have been. So why is there a difference? Why, when I think of my past, do I sit here and think about how it was? And why, when I'm living in my present, do I sit here and think about how it should be? What is happening here? Why can't I sit in this present moment and just be with how it is? Why is it so difficult? And there's the pain, this difficulty. So people say, well, just be present. Yeah, but see, there's a problem with that. It's not that easy. Because it's not that easy just to be present, because I got this thing right here in my head that says it shouldn't be this way. And it's constantly going on. They shouldn't be that way. That person shouldn't be that way. I'll enjoy this person when they get a better way. Can't enjoy them now. And I'm not saying let's allow people to do drugs. I'm saying this is happening even when the drugs stop. The drugs stop, but there's still a disagreement. And we're still all waiting. We're still all kind of in this disagreement about how it is compared to how it should be. And the pain's coming because we think it should be this way. And the urgency's coming because we think it should be this way. And then guess what? For a little bit of brief moments, me and Angie get to be with your loved ones. And guess when we find joy? When we get to be with them about how they are. So we just get to go and we almost feel guilty. See? We almost feel a sense of guilt because I see your kids and I'm looking at them and I'm enjoying them exactly how they are right now. And then the parents go, well, can't we hurry this thing up and get them to be how they should be? And I go, but wait, they're so good how they are. And they go, no, come on. I'm spending a lot of money. We need to get them how they should be. And then the urgency starts and we have to but we need years. It's like, you guys, everyone I go, it's a 90-day program. I go, oh, 90 days. No, it should be 3 years. I'm sorry, it should be that, but it should be 3 years. We went through a lot. We spent a lot of years with each other saying, that's not how you should be. 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 And then there's everyone comes and I go, let's all get in the group room. And everyone gets in the group room and they go, that shouldn't be like that. And that shouldn't be like that. And they shouldn't be like that. My dad shouldn't be like that. My childhood shouldn't be like that. And this shouldn't have been like that. And then the parents call. Are they still like that? Well, they shouldn't be like that. And we live in this world and there's the pain. And the pain all dissipates when we just go, well, where's this pain coming from? Well, it's this gap. It's this gap that we're all living with. So when I'm with my friends and I'm sitting there thinking when do we get there? And what I really mean to say is, when do we get to be how it is? When do we get to just be how it is? When can we be together and just be it how it is? And this is difficult. It's difficult. But when we're really living, and I want you to look, whether it's sadness, whether it's hurt, whether it's tragic, even in the moment when someone dies, when it's really good, when you're really living, it's how it is. And it might be very, very scary how it is. It might be very difficult how it is. It might be like a car wreck how it is. But you're living. And then you find joy and you look at someone and you see love and you go, look at how they are. They're beautiful, right? Like that. Or you eat that ice cream and you go, oh, it's so good how it is. And there's joy and love in how it is. But the rest of the time, we're not experiencing how it is. We're just running around experiencing how it should be. We're just running around experiencing what needs to be different. Should be like this. Needs to be like this. How come it's not like that? Why is it like that? I was walking around this house, and it's very difficult to come back from Vegas and see the condition and how they haven't changed the light bulb and they've knocked out my window for some reason, and the sliding glass door that's somehow made it 49 years of my life couldn't withstand a couple months alone with drug addicts, so it's now wrecked. The light that's never. It turns out now, it seems like with recovering addicts, once a light bulb goes out, we just call it. It works. It's like, oh, that doesn't work anymore. Oh, you mean it needs a new bulb? What? I don't think I actually know. And I was like, do we have any light bulbs? And like, you ever been in a house that doesn't have any light bulbs? We have one here. No light bulbs. They called me from the military house and they said there's no pots and pans. I said, well, how many days has that been? Well, we've been eating off paper plates too. I said, well, how long has that been? It's been a while. They go, we haven't had plates in a while or pots and pans in a while. Huh? What do you do? I noticed the Keurig back there. I went to get a cup of coffee and there was I noticed when I opened the Keurig thing that there wasn't an old Keurig in there. I was like, what? Is there some adults here or something? Who took the Keurig out before the next one goes in? You're supposed to leave that old crusted Keurig in there until you pop in the next one. But some adult was here and they went and took it out and threw it away after they were done. I was like, whoa, But that's what this is about. The best moments of my life is when me and how it is just kind of click in like a seatbelt. And there's no gap between it. There's just me and how it is. There's no gap. And that's whether I'm loving someone, loving something, loving some event, or hating it. Or really in the most moments of pain in my life, the most desperate moments, the most, looking back, there are always these moments where you go, I hated that right there, but you remember. And everyone, when I told them, when you woke up in jail, you've been on drugs and you woke up in jail and you felt that reality of life. And you went, whoa, I haven't felt this in a while. And I can describe it. And you all know what it feels like. And the reason you know what it feels like is because in that moment you were living. In that moment you felt. I can remember my life used to just be this simple pattern. It was just simple, get out of jail. I'm going to change. Then I have a disagreement. And I was always in a disagreement with how life was. So that's what I lived. I was just in a disagreement. Me and life disagreed. Life thought it should be this way. I thought it should be that way. And then because I thought life should be this way, and it wasn't doing it for me, I thought drugs and alcohol would work. And that would help me make life the way I wanted it to be. So that's what I did. And then that pattern would always end. And it always was the same thing, that the cop lights were in the rearview mirror. And at that moment, when I saw the cop lights, I'm like, that's how it is. I'm going back to jail now. And that was just the pattern. And then I got to jail and I lived again. Comedy. See, comedy is when we meet how it is. We meet how it is and someone shows us how it is and we agree and we feel it, we laugh. And so in all these moments, what I'm trying to say is, what I'm trying to achieve, what I was trying to say with my friends is, when do we stop living how it should be? I noticed that when we talk about how it should be and how people should be and how they aren't. But we don't talk about how they are. And with our loved ones and with all your families, just feel it. Feel this sense of urgency. Feel this thing that we're all up to, how difficult it is to love people how they are, how difficult it is and this constant nagging of how it should be different. This constant nagging, this never ending, it should be thing that goes on. And there's where the pain is coming from. And so we don't do very much. People that come to us and their family member comes here and their family, we don't really do much. Nothing really changes except how we see each other. There just becomes an understanding. There just becomes more of an agreement about how we see each other. So we just kind of, how do we help? Well, we just kind of end the disagreement. And when people come to us, there's a big disagreement. They should be that way. And then the kid comes and they go, but my family should be that way. And then we kind of just try to find some ground and end it. And then in the end, you know, you ever see two ducks fight over bread? You know, the ducks, they float in, they see a piece of bread, so the ducks go and they attack the piece of bread and one of them wins. But then when one of them wins, the other two, the ducks then just turn the other way and they just float peacefully away. It's kind of like that. So we're just like, disagree. They're not. And we all go, oh, what happened? Nothing. We just kind of feel how we are. And that's it. And so for me, I think a lot. And I'm more of a philosopher than I am a scientist. I don't know. I just kind of have a philosophy. And I just kind of learned that what I'm about these days and what this is all about. It's about seeing each other differently. It's about understanding each other. It's about us finding common ground and compassion. It's about not how we're different. It's about how we're the same. It's about finding these similarities, finding these ways which looking at ourselves and finding all these similar things so that we can have more of an agreement than a disagreement. Very simple process. And it's also about getting people out of the war. I'm not saying you agree with your loved one using drugs. Never. That's called wartime. That's when we get the war ended. But once that happens, then there's no more fear. There's no more drug use. See, so when I always wonder what this reasoning is and what causes this. And what causes this is it's our own insecurities. It's just our own insecurities that we got to work through, thinking that this other person needs to be different to make us feel better. And what happens when someone dies and goes away? The insecurities leave. See, we don't remember how we felt when we talk about our past. If we did, we probably would talk about how it should have been. See, we don't remember how we felt in that moment. We don't remember if we felt scared or we don't remember if we felt angry. We just remember kind of how it was. So we just say how it was, but we don't say it with all that kind of, we just go, that's how it was. And we're always fond of how it was because the insecurities have left us about how it was. But when we're dealing with how it is, there's insecurities, and those insecurities cause our mind to say, this is how it should be. Because our body doesn't like how it is. Our body's going through turbulence and trauma. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to be easy. I know a lot of people came here tonight and there's concern. I can see fear on people and people's kids are going through stuff right now and I can see it. But the relief isn't in that. The relief is right here, right now. Take a breath. They're going to be on their journey. They're doing what they're doing. You're just learning your journey. They're learning to calm down. See how they are. It's just like that. The relief is right here. You got to find it. Not when they get sober, not when they get different, but now. Tonight I just gotta be here and I just gotta see how it is. So I gotta look around my house and I gotta go find the beauty in it. Oh, the paint's gone. Nice. Nice. Oh, the toilet isn't connected to the floor anymore. Nice. Nice, nice. 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 Oh, I grabbed a coffee cup and it had coffee in it still in the coffee cup. Nice. Nice. Little coffee left over from the other day, right there in my, you know. So if anyone needs any relief tonight, you need to talk about, and that's what we do. See, this is where we find relief. We talk about how it should be. We talk about how it is and we don't like it. We talk about how it should be different. And this is how we kind of relieve ourselves. We don't even really have a language anymore to talk about how it is. People feel awkward talking about how it is. You know, not factually, well, this is how it is. My kid's a drug addict. Nice. Nice. You know, nice. You picked that. I didn't pick that. Hey, you picked that. I didn't pick that. You picked that. You see? There's an old thing we used to tell people. It was like a Greek. Supposedly, before we are alive, we are asked to choose all of our problems before we're born. And we pick our problems before we're born, but then when we're born, we forget that we picked them. You know, and so here we are with all the problems we picked, but we don't want them anymore. Well, you picked it. So what happens when you decide that you picked it? That this is the problems that you picked? Well, you now can see that you're probably pretty good at solving them. You ever see that Batman, right? Batman gets amnesia and gets put in a buried alive in like a box. And he gets amnesia and he can't remember. And then all of a sudden the amnesia wears off and he remembers his Batman. So he just gets out. Just pulls the ropes off and gets out. It's like, I'm Batman, dude. You know? Not like that, right? We picked all this. I picked being a drug addict. I picked it. I picked it because I knew there was something that I could beat. God damn it, I did it. And that's it. We picked it. What's he want? The dog?
The dog has a treat.
See, he should be different. Why is he doing that? Go tell that kid to be different. Oh, we start really early on, you know. Put your shoes on right. You know, be different. We're all little. I gotta be different. Yeah. All right. Anyone want to comment, share, ask questions? Sorry, I was blabbering tears and shit, but it gets me emotional because I don't get to live that often. Usually I'm walking around wondering how it should be different. I don't get to click in that time very often and just really think about how it is. And I encourage everyone, you know, especially people constantly, that's all we're doing is avoiding how it is. Walking around dealing with how it looks. You know, when you get the news comes in. You got a couple weeks left, or maybe a month left, or maybe a year left. You're not going to wonder how it should be anymore. You're not going to walk around thinking about how it should be. You're going to marvel at how it is and want a little more. You're just going to go, I don't care about how my loved ones should be. I want to enjoy right now how they are. And that's all you're going to do. You're not going to wonder anymore. You're just going to wish you could get more time. We had people talking about how I left Vegas and then people got a little shaky down there when I left the last couple of days. It got a little rocky, you know, a lot of arguments about how it should be. A lot of people complaining about how it should be and not really digging how it is. And because of that, there became like an attitude or a lack of gratitude and some entitlement going on, and people were having pain issues and attitude issues and disagreements and all kinds of things, you know? And then somebody says, well, I think people should be more grateful, but what does that mean? It means people should realize how it is and live how it is. That's gratitude, living how it is. And it's for everything. Gratitude, you know, when we first started telling people to have gratitude because their loved one was a drug addict, we sounded like lunatics and people didn't want to come no more. You know, when we actually dared to say that we're happy for you that your kid became a drug addict because of the opportunity that it's going to have to connect deeper and to learn about yourself and to find deeper ways to be compassionate and deeper ways to be kind and caring and deeper and be able to explore these opportunities to forgive, to actually learn how to explore bigger opportunities, to be worthy, to be big, to forgive big things, to forgive each other. And we used to tell people, nice, you get that opportunity. And they'd say, no, it's a tragedy. Well, that's what it's going to be then. Or it is going to be this great thing that you all get to go through, that you get to learn something about yourself, that you get to see, that you get to expand your levels of compassion, expand your levels of forgiveness, expand your levels of kindness, open your heart, stop protecting yourself, be able to be big, be able to love somebody through the most difficult time in their life. Be able to look at somebody who's struggling and behaving very poorly and go, nice, nice. I see you're in pain. Let me help. And that's the opportunity that this is. We get to live. We get to live. And if you just click in, and you stop disagreeing with how it is for a second and just click into that seat and just sit there for a second and really kind of marvel at how it is. Stop disagreeing with it, but marvel at how it is. I don't know if you believe in God or what you believe in, but kind of marvel at that wisdom. The wisdom of the challenge. What if there was no challenges? What if there was no problems? What if there was nothing? We get this. We picked it. And this is how it is. And when I get there, I can really do some good stuff with how it is. My own growth. I thank God for drug addiction every single day. It's what gave me the best moment of my life when I sat there staring out that window. That's what the 17 years amounted was. I got to live for 30 seconds and feel really the weight of that. So, but I see everybody. The topic of conversation, and just so you know, maybe you guys don't get to hear the war zone I get to hear, but I live in the houses with these guys, and I get to hear them all talking about how everyone should be different. And that's what they talk about, how it should be. Very seldom do they talk about how it is. They talk about how people should be, how people shouldn't be. And I'm telling you, that's not living. You ain't even touching life, man. And if you want to touch life, you need to touch how it is and accept it and feel it. And when you feel that, see, our politicians, they're not living. They're talking about how it should be. They don't even have no idea how to get there. They're just complaining, all of them. We don't got any leaders. They don't like how it is. They just keep telling us how it should be with no idea of how to get there. They should be like that. They should be like that. They shouldn't be like that. They shouldn't be like, geez, stop it. They are like that. Now do something with it. That's how they are. What do I do? That's how this is. What do I do? My kid's a drug addict. What do I do? Well, great. You're in a great position. Good question. Now let's fix it. But fixing it might not be what you think it is. Okay, I've talked enough. Who needs to share? Who wants to introduce yourselves? If you're new, if someone's on their hands, any hands raised?
Yeah, anybody out there at home, there is a raise your hand feature on your device. I'm raising our hand here. You can do that to get my attention. If you can't figure it out on your device, you can unmute yourself, wave your arms. As long as your camera's on, I can see you and get you up on spotlight so we can hear you. So any comments, questions, hellos? We welcome all of them. If you're new out there tonight, we'd love to meet you. And yeah, I see some faces out there in Kent that I haven't met too. Gosh, I'm so jealous I'm not there. So many
It's all right. It's all right.
people.
It should be.
I don't know.
It blanked out when you said that. So yeah, who's first? Comments, questions? Let's open it up. Oh, goodness. And by the way, I'll be there next week. So all you local people, please come back again next Tuesday for the watch party in person. It's so much fun to meet y'all in person. I'd love to have you back next week. Every Tuesday we have a watch party there at Kent. So and Bill and Becky host it a lot too. And so they're always there to greet all your family members. So you're always welcome to join in person like that. I don't know there tonight.
Janet,
Yes,
of course.
thank you. So obviously that wasn't the first time you'd had that discussion with your dad. The day that you sat there in your living room.
Mhm.
What made that moment different? Why was that moment of him saying those things to you? Why did it register then and not 5 years before?
One thing is this, there's a myth out there. And I think it's a big myth. It's a myth that's got us in a predicament. And the myth that's got us in a predicament is that an addict will get sober when they want it. And that is a myth. And it's a very, very dangerous myth. It's what's got Seattle bringing drug addicts pipes and sleeping bags and food. And that myth is insane. So yes, a drug addict will get sober when they want it, but what makes them want it? And what makes them want it is environmental. Really, most of the time. And then sometimes it's emotional, and then sometimes it's physical. So a bottom that a drug addict hits will come in one of three directions. It'll come from, then maybe somebody has a lot of money, like an M&M. Well, what kind of bottom did he hit? He couldn't run out of money. It wasn't environmental, really. He had to have an emotional where the drug stopped taking away the pain and actually added more pain to his life. So that's what his bottom was. And then some people end up in the hospital and they can't go on. Their liver fails, they die, physical. And then some people have some kind of obstruction put in front of their way, where that obstruction says you can go left here or you can go right. But if you go left, you're probably screwed. And usually that obstruction is a judge, a wife, a father, a family, something that says you must change or this will happen. It's like a T. And over here is treatment and change. And over here is something you don't want to experience as an addict. And so I had the benefit of my father becoming that T at that moment. Nothing changed for me. Everything changed for him. My addiction didn't end when I was ready for it to end. In fact, I wanted it to continue, even to the point where if you would have, at one point I used to have the thoughts, I wish my family was dead so I could use without feeling guilt. See, so at that point, it wasn't that I was done with my addiction, it's that my father was. And my father had been done with my addiction a lot more fakely. I'm done, Art. I'm done. I'm done. But there's a point where he was done. And then he showed it to me. the way he spoke to me, the way he was right there.
Sorry.
And he made it known to me that I was at the T. He did that. He saved my life. He did that. So what we do with families is help them become that T. That's what we do. So nothing changes for an addict. In fact, almost every addict that's ever come to my program, when they got to the doorsteps, I could have said, would you like to come in today? Or would you like $10,000 in a hotel room to continue using drugs? And 100% will be, I'll be back when the 10,000 is done. Not one would walk through the door. All of them were faced with something, some kind of loss, some kind of pain, something. So I don't even teach people not to do drugs. Life's done that to them. I teach people how to get rid of this, how to try to find happiness. And see, happiness is not an addition of anything. Happiness is a subtraction of resentment, anger, closed heart, protection. Happiness is this subtraction that when we take everything away, we already have it. But when we take away anger and resentment and lack of acceptance and resistance and our insecurities, and we take all that stuff, we can find some freedom. So people come, and I don't determine, they come, and a lot of them haven't reached the T, but they come to me too early. And so they come and they go, and then they go out and they try it again, and they try it again, and they come back and they try it again and come back, and they try it again and come back. And to me, I find it very unfortunate for them that no one's provided that for them, that life hasn't provided that for them. So when somebody uses drugs, I go, oh, that's just, life hasn't really provided that for them. And we do all this crazy stuff where somebody takes credit for somebody not using drugs anymore. Like somebody, like the program takes credit, like, we have a great program, we have a high success rate, people aren't using drugs. Like, well, you never hear the program go, when somebody relapses, the program's never like, we failed. You never hear them like going out there and getting the guy and go, we really let you down when you were here, you know. So I don't take credit for no one not using drugs. And I don't take responsibility if someone does go use drugs. That's not my game. I'm not the one providing the tea. You see? And no one should, but that's just naturally what happens over time, you see? So at that point, a tea was provided. I saw I couldn't use drugs anymore. I detoxed for 17 days. And that was the first time in 20 years that I hadn't took opiates. The first time. And so on that day when I sat there, reality, one, I can't use drugs anymore. Two, what have I done? What in the hell have I done? I got no friends. I got no career. I'm 80K in debt. And that used to all just be able to make that disappear if I could just get up to the store. And in one instance, I could just run to the store and get me 10 pills, and then all that disappears. That's not a problem anymore. But for this day, that wasn't going anywhere. And I saw the mountain that was in front of me. And then my father knew once he seen my eyes. And what that moment was bottom followed by surrender. And by no doing of my own, by no choice of my own. So the myth that somebody's going to be down there and get a pipe brought to them and a clean needle and a sleeping bag and then go, yeah, not today. What a myth. Every husband that's quit drinking, most likely, if you say husband, what you say is a wife probably ended the drinking. You ever hear that phrase? If you want to know if you're an alcoholic or not, just ask your wife. You know, they'll tell you. Every family has the power to impact. That's why we do what we do. That's why we start with the family. We can influence. Yeah.
So I hear what you're saying today. I really enjoyed what you were talking about. Being sitting in it and being where you're at. Because as a mom, I struggle with feeling like I'm abandoning my son. When I kind of go like, you know what, you're ahead, you're in the middle of what you're doing. We're happy that you're in this program, but you know, I feel like I'm not doing enough to help him. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, but sit back and go like, yeah, you figure it out and we love you, but we're not showing you that we love you because what am I doing? I go to work every day. I don't see you. I don't talk to you. How am I helping him?
Yeah,
And how do I struggle with that?
okay, do this for me. Tell me about how Tyler is.
I hope he's good.
No, not hope. Tell me about how Tyler is.
He's clean.
No,
I'm happy.
tell me about Tyler.
I don't
I
know.
want you to talk to me about Tyler,
I haven't
like
talked-
he, no, who is Tyler? Tell these people who Tyler is.
Tyler's my son. He's 30. He's an amazing man who's got incredible. He's smart. He's talented. He's a joy to be around. He's sweet.
Why is he here? Why is he
Sorry.
here?
He's in Vegas.
Why is he in Vegas?
He's a drug addict. He's there in a program. He's learning about who he is and what he's gonna do in his life. But I feel really like I'm
Can I tell you who Tyler is for a second?
sure.
All right. Tyler is one of the most sweetest, genuine, caring, loving people I've ever met. The kid is gold, heart of gold, not 1 ounce of anything in him that's hurtful or anything. He is just love. That's what Tyler is. Okay? That's it.
I think so.
What do we have to do about that?
Do I just step away and?
Not why would you step away? What about give him a hug? You don't have to step away. What do you mean? You don't have to get out of the way, you don't have to do nothing. Enjoy him. See, what stops us from enjoying him?
I feel like I'm a source of hurt for him.
Okay, well, talk to him then.
I can relate to that, but I felt like just my presence.
I gotta quit crying, man.
You know, his shame, my son, I have a son, he's in his 30s, but I have several children, you know, and like, I felt like I would go see the one and I felt like, I'm like, you need to get your shit together, and then I go to the other one, I'm like, you need to relax, you know, and, but just that's that parental thing. I mean, I think some of that's just nature, you know, I mean, I love my son where he's at, and I do try to make the best of it, but I also can see the demise of the way he chooses to live and how it has diminished his mental capacity
Let me
still.
go back here, Lori, just for a second. Cause I wanna know, I know you said you like what I'm talking about tonight. I know he said it. But when you think of Tyler, what I did was I told you how he is. Now, what you're feeling is a doing something, is an urge to do something, kind of a nagging, I gotta fix something, I gotta do something, that's what you're feeling, you see? You don't need to feel that. And the entirety of the problem is that you feel that. And it's not a problem with you, or it's not a problem with him, it's just a disagreement. It's just like, it's unnecessary, you see? So it's just like being able to go, well, this is how it is. It's how he is, it's how it is. Okay. Nothing wrong. There's nothing to fix. So if I go down there and I enjoy Tyler, and then then maybe you go, well, what are you doing, Art? Like, when are you gonna, I don't feel what you feel. See, when Tyler changes, it won't be of our doing.
I just feel like I'm failing him somehow, like I need, like, by being here, he's in Vegas, somehow I'm not doing whatever I should be doing.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think you're doing a lot to, being at this meeting supporting. My
yeah,
daughter's younger than what you guys are talking about, but it was really helpful to hear what you're saying tonight, and I'll give you a specific example of what you're saying. Angie texted just kind of out of the blue, I think before Christmas, kind of Christmas greeting, and nothing really an agenda, just I don't know, maybe she sent the text to everyone. But no, I don't think so. It was just me. And it hit me in a week where it's like lots of wishing things, or knowing how they should be.
mhm.
They're not like that. So that creates a level of anger, a sub level of anger in me. And she texted, "Enjoy your girl." I'm like, yeah, that flipped it around for me. It was super helpful.
Well, do you know, I want to allow people, and this is what we're trying to, when I said there's relief tonight, do you know that when parents come to me, they go, my kid does this and 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 this, and then they go, oh, but by the way, he's a really great person. Oh, he's really great. Everything I said, he's really great and I love him. It's never the opposite. It's never my kid's this, and he's this, and he's that, and he's amazing, and he's this, but he's got a little drug problem.
But it's not by virtue of the situation. They don't.
Maybe,
they don't-
but the point of tonight is this, the relief is found that in right now in the situation, tonight's relief is found in how they are. It's found in the good of it. It's found in that's how we find the relief. That's how we're able to deal with this journey and walk beside him. Is that, and we almost, it is when we're in there and we're enjoying how these kids are. If Allison's back there and her daughter Kate, which I love her daughter Kate. I mean, I find her amazing. And I almost feel a sense of guilt about finding her amazing. Because maybe I'm not doing my job. Because maybe I'm not grinding on her hard enough to get the change that's necessary so that I deserve the money that I'm getting. You see? And so that's happened. That there's this, and I can sit and find them amazing, but let's get them how they should be. Yeah.
Well, I was kind of hoping to see Angie tonight, but I'm glad I came, or you give me a perspective that I didn't have. My 41-year-old son had some sober friends, and he went, and he's 6 months sober now, and he's in service AA, and he's really, really embedded into. And for years, when he wouldn't, stop or talk about it or anything, and I just had to back off. I thought, well, this is my punishment because I was a lousy father, and that's why he does drugs and alcohol, and I can't change his mind. I wasn't a terrible father, but I certainly couldn't change his mind. I don't know what the T was for my son. It was something, and something I want to talk to him about, maybe when he's a little more grounded, a little further on, but that's unique to me. I've never heard it said like that, and it's really interesting.
Thank you. I'm not saying that there's not improvements to be made, and I'm not saying that we should enjoy when our kids are doing drugs. I'm not. I call it different, just so you guys know. When there's an addict out there using drugs, almost everything that I'm saying here doesn't really apply. When you have an addict using drugs, I call that wartime. And I say when there's an addict and they're out there using drugs and they're in their active addiction, that we're in a wartime, that this isn't the time to necessarily be finding all this is the time to take the right moves, to provide that tea, to get the person into treatment. And then once they get into treatment and we get this peacetime, that's where what I'm talking about kind of clicks in. And I think that, go ahead, Allison.
I don't feel like I need to fix Kate. I just know when she comes back, we fall back in these stupid patterns and I hate it. So.
Yeah.
I like her to be where she's settled.
But right there, see, when you say, no. Anyways, when you say fall back into these patterns, there's a disagreement. She has a disagreement about how you are,
Yeah.
and you have a disagreement about how she is.
I don't know if I have a disagreement about how she is anymore.
Okay.
It's just who she is. But I love her.
I'd like to revisit, excuse me, conversation you and I had a couple of weeks ago. Excuse me, just that. So, I know you told me you remember our conversation, so you know the situation we are coming up on. My son is not in treatment of any kind, and he's got no money. He's had his job description changed 6 months ago from employed to unemployed.
Yeah.
And that money's gone. And we're coming up on that hard stop on his lease.
Mhm.
By coincidence, it's up on the 10th. And when you and I talked, as I recall, your suggestion or recommendations included just dump, that's it. You'll be, out the door, homeless, whatever,
Mhm.
with all the attendant surrounding aspects of that, like the aspect of being evicted and maybe never getting an apartment again, whatever, not being able. Right now, time-wise, all three of us here that came here tonight,
Mhm.
with regard to Rodney, are in the same, we're terrified. There's the issue of his life, but now we've got this urgency. So much of what you said tonight makes perfect sense to me. But I've got this other lingering sort of Damocles.
If you,
And if you can address that, I appreciate it.
well, I'll address being terrified, and I've always found it odd. The most terrifying space that I can have a drug addict in ever is if they're in a home alone. There is no more terrifying spot for a drug addict or a fentanyl addict or anyone to be in other than their own home. It doesn't exist. So if you put an addict in a hotel room alone, an apartment alone, anywhere alone, that's where terrified comes in. And parents it's a little reversed. It's that they're terrified for them to be out on the streets. And I think that that would be great if they make it there. Because if they make it to the streets, their chances of dying alone and ODing and doing that are good, or they're closer to getting help there on the streets. And if they're drinking in a house alone, if they're doing this stuff in a house alone, it's very, very dangerous. So the most dangerous thing that we can do is take somebody that's in active addiction and give them a freedom and a space to do that in. And there's where the danger comes. And so addicts don't starve to death, and they don't freeze to death. And so when they get cold and hungry, that's when they get help. And people have forgotten that, I think. People kind of think it's something else, but everyone back in the room will tell you, and everyone will tell you that, so that it's weird because we're terrified at the wrong spots as parents. We haven't yet 100% almost 100% of the ones that we've lost were all in their own home. or their parents' home. So it's terrifying. But an addict being homeless and out of work and out of a job and being evicted, that's just good shit right there. That's just par for the course. You know, how many of us got evicted? Raise your hand if you've been evicted. Come on, raise them up, raise them up. That's all of us. So, you know, we've been evicted. That's that thing. That's that life. You know, I always say a drug addict isn't, as a drug addict, it's so beautiful addiction because you're not hypothetically fucked. You're like you're scientifically fucked. And it's so predictable to watch. I had a friend named Bruce. Bruce finally eventually OD'd and died of his addiction. But this is how it went. I got sober in 2011, and Bruce and I were in active addiction together, and we played poker together, and we did drugs together, and Bruce had a job at Safeway, and he had a manager at Safeway, and he had a nice truck that he drove, and he had an apartment that he drove, and or that he had, and he had his own apartment, he had this truck, and he had this job at Safeway, and he called me and he goes, I go, hey Bruce, you ready to get sober? And he's like, what? No, I'm not ready to get sober. And I go, well, call me when you lose your job. And he goes, what? I'm not gonna lose my job. And so like about a month later, he calls me, he goes, Art, I lost my job. And I go, I know. And I go, you ready to get sober, Bruce? And I had already set up his bedroom. So I had a sober house, and he was my best friend that I was getting high with. And I knew I was so proud of myself that I have a bedroom for him, and I'm gonna get. So I said, you ready to get sober, Bruce? And he goes, no, man, I you know, and he goes, I can't just leave my apartment and not pay my truck payment and everything. And I go, hey man, give me a call when you lose your truck. And he goes, what? A couple months later, he called me, he goes, all right, my truck got towed and I don't have the money to get it out. And I go, so you lost your truck? And he goes, yeah. And I go, well, you ready, man? I said, I got your bed set up. It's all ready to go. And he goes, I can't just leave my apartment. And I go, all right, man, give me a call when you lost your apartment. A couple months later, he gives me a call. He goes, all right, I've lost my apartment. He was stunned. Like, how did you know? And I go, all right, man. I go, you ready to get sober? And he goes, yeah. And I said, all right, man, I'll be over to pick you up. It's not a hypothetical.
But you said he died.
He died after trying to get sober for many years. He did get sober, got sober for a couple years. He got sober. He would relapse, got sober for another year and relapse. And eventually, my friend Bruce, Bruce had a love affair with drugs. He loved them. And he was in a lot of pain, and he had a lot of trauma, and he never really got it together. And so you get some time and you put it together, but he'd always go back, and you know, that's just how it goes sometimes. But he did come and get sober, and you know, but that's how it ends sometimes, you know. So to answer your question, this is science. It's just the way it goes. It's just that what every alcoholic experiences, and I can't remember, was it alcoholism or drug addiction?
Alcohol and cocaine.
Alcohol and cocaine, I remember that. He's in Seattle, correct? Yeah.
I think.
Apartment in Seattle, alcohol, cocaine. Yeah, we know how that ends. You know, we know how it ends if we help provide the apartment and keep that going. And you can, if you don't believe me, you can go ask any of the recovering addicts in the back of the room if you should help them keep that going, and they'll tell you. They'll tell you gotta let them heal it. Right? It's not anything but kind of science. Just let that happen. Be there. Always provide the other option. This is what we're doing right now. In fact, I say take the other option away. I say just tell them what they're going to do. There's so many addicts, so many people. So many addicts are lost right now. So many addicts just need to be asked to go get help. It's easier than it's ever been. We find it that way now. It used to be hard. I remember back in the day, we were teaching people to pop their kids' tires and shit. We were like, okay, go home, pop all 4 tires. We were. Go home. Yeah, that's what it was. And now it's like, why don't you just go ask them? And it's working a lot. Why don't you go require it? I say that a drug addict never does what they're asked to do. A drug addict only does what they're required to do. What about my treatment center? They come down to my program and I go, you guys think possibly maybe you want to get up a little early tomorrow? They're like, nah. You guys maybe want to clean up the kitchen after dinner? Nah. But when they're required to do it, they sure do it. Get it? We'll get him. See? You don't know you have the power yet.
I worry about the choice that he could also make
Which choice would that be?
to end his life,
Oh,
because there's no support.
oh. You mean by support, you mean what?
If we allow him to fall,
Yeah,
in his mind, we've given up.
yeah, yeah. No, that's not true. No, that's not true in his mind. He doesn't believe that. In fact, and you can ask any of the kids back here, kids or adults or men and women back here that are in recovery, you can ask all of them. That's the game we tell people. That's how we tell people. That's how we gaslight people. We say, if you don't keep the money coming, you've given up on me and you're not supporting me. But we know
And I'm gonna
inside.
slit my throat.
Yes, and that's what that's called gaslighting 101. You know that.
And
You've been-
I'd like to say something, and there's lots of people in this room and elsewhere who have given a lot of support. And it does end in suicide sometimes, or you know, other things too. You know, enabling, you know, we all do it, and we want to do it because we love our kids, but
I still do it now.
you gotta, you know, you gotta just make a decision.
Yeah. We'll get it, Jan.
Well, I think too. It can't end in suicide, but it can end in the addiction will kill your person. I have more people that have died of their own addiction.
If they'll admit that they have the.
You better let that go. We have,
Yeah.
I mean.
So that's what we do. So welcome. We'll get back and reconvene and we can get back on and we can get you guys together. And this is what we do. We devise a plan with the family. We become we go on offense rather than defense. We start making moves with wisdom and it works every time. Almost every time. We'll get it. We'll get yours. We'll get them. Trust me. That's happened with every single family in this room and thousands more. This is how we.
My son went out without a mother.
Yeah, they'll find a girlfriend or anything.
So he's clever.
What time?
So. I'm not, I consider for him to little dog.
But we're all, everyone
He's
is,
got his own.
this is the fear of all of it. This is what we're dealing with. If they didn't have our fear to prey upon, then they couldn't gaslight us and do it, but they do. There is a fear, and that's the fear, is how much can we take? How much can we do to follow through and hold someone accountable? It's hard. My father risked it that day. He risked it with me. He said, I'm willing to lose you. And he knew he had to make me believe it. And I believed it. He was willing to lose me. He looked at me. My father came in and he was a Marine. I never seen my dad cry. And I sat across the table from him and he had one tear coming down. And he seen that I seen that he had a tear coming down. And he went away and he went to wipe that tear. And when he came back, he wasn't sad no more. He was angry. And he risked it. And he put everything on the line and he goes, go get in that fucking bedroom right now and lay down. If I see your face in the next couple of weeks, we're done. He said, don't come out of that fucking bedroom. Don't be whining to me about no Suboxone or drugs or anything. You go in there and puke. You go in there and get sick. And if you don't do it, we're done. And when he said that, boom, over. Ended my addiction right there. And I say that Every one of you family members has the power to do this with your family member. They want your approval. They need your approval. They want to do it for you. They need you to save them. You need to talk to them like it's the last time you're ever going to talk to them. What would you say? If you knew it was going to do it to them, what would you say? My father knew he was about to lose me. Thank God for the family.
What if you can't get them to risk it?
What if you can't get who?
Someone you love.
When I say risk it, I say they're willing to lose you to prove a point. That they have to walk away or your addiction is going to take you. And once somebody walks away from us and starts going the other direction, it benefits us. Because now we want to get that person back. And they're not there just to cater to our every need or our whim or anything. They're walking away. Somebody we love is walking away. Everyone in the world keeps telling me that drug addicts are drug addicts because of a lack of love. That is the most nonsensical thing I ever heard. These are the most loved people I've ever seen. If I was to take Vegas and surround that house with all the people that loves everyone down there, you couldn't find room outside the house. So what happened? Was there a lack of love? No. You see, so it's not love that we need when we're in our addiction. It's the thought of losing it. It's love leaving us. The thought of it not being able to come back. The thought of my mother never speaking to me again. The thought of my father not being my father anymore. The thought of my friends not being my friends anymore. And then I have to earn it. So it's not a lack of love that's shining on me and I don't get enough, so then I'm going to use drugs. And that's what the world's convinced us, that if we go down to Seattle and love someone and love them and tell them we love them, they're going to stop using drugs. No, they're not. And in fact, they are responsible. They need to get up and go love their family. Who told them that it's our responsibility and that they lack love? I had to learn to get up and love my family back. They already loved me. I wasn't loving them. I was isolating in a room smoking crack cocaine. All the love in the world could have shined on me. You give me love, I'll take your money and I'm going to go use drugs with it. You give me love, I'm going to hug you and steal your wallet. That's how it was. And as drug addicts, we need to look at ourselves and we need to decide what we want. Do we want people to love us? Guess what? Every time you get high, nobody can love you. 100% impossible to love somebody that's high or drunk. You're loving them, but they're not looking at you because they're nodding off. Very difficult to love someone that's high and using drugs. So this myth going on that everyone's no. Yeah, there is a lack of love, and we need to learn as drug addicts how to experience it. We need to learn how to live life and experience how life is and look at the beauty of it and feel gratitude and feel our families and open up our hearts. It's not on anyone else. And if it was, wouldn't that be sick? If all those people were downtown Seattle and all of us drug addicts in this room were all waiting for someone to love us so we could change our life, wouldn't that be sick? And who would that person be that did it to us? What a hero they'd be. So now we're all just these doves that have been using drugs waiting for somebody to love us so that we could change our life. That's not true. We're the perpetrators. We're the leaders. We're the ones dragging people through the mud. We're the ones manipulating. We know, and we're smart. And your son knows he's smart.
He's very smart.
He's smart. He knows exactly how to play the fiddle of his mother and his dad. And he's just sitting there going, oh, you guys are all in disarray and unhappy, and well, bring me some more drugs because I'm going to sit here and do drugs. And you look at a drug addict's life right now, alcoholic or drug addict, what is he doing right now? He's drinking and using cocaine, I promise. Or he's out of money and he's sleeping, waiting to use drugs and cocaine. That's all we're doing. My dad was always wondering what I'm doing. What are you doing? What am I doing? I'm either sleeping or using drugs. I've been doing that for 20 years, Dad. Then he asked what I'm doing. Oh, well, I'm looking for a job. Trying to get into IOP. Yeah,
You know, I'm nobody's role model and,
well,
but,
that's true.
I'm, personally, I am more black and white. When our daughter was out in active addiction, heroin addiction and on the street and doing a lot of terrible things, it got to the point where I told Teresa that I'm gonna have a funeral for her. I'm not gonna look for her anymore. I'm just cutting myself off from her. You know, she's either gonna have a funeral or heading that way.
Mhm.
And that's how I made peace with it. And Teresa did too, she cut her off.
Mm.
And then we were very fortunate to come into contact with Angie and you, and actually got 5 years sober. But we had no peace between us while she was in active addiction because we were enabling her, pretty much just trying to keep helping her. And it wasn't until we stopped that there was any positive results. So, like I said, I know everybody here loves their kids, God knows I do, but, me personally, I feel like you gotta be really, really tough and compartmentalized about the whole thing. Or else they're just going forever until it ends in suicide or OD.
I like to just remind, what this is. This is both. We understand that people need to get better. We understand that people are sick, they need help, they need to get better. We know all that. But we're doing both here. We're also saying to everyone in this room, in the meantime, in all this whole journey, it's about you getting better. And what does it mean for family members to get better? It means to live more in acceptance, to live more about how it is, to find peace in this, to find compassion, to find forgiveness, to get rid of our hatred, to get rid of our anger. And that's what we're doing. So when I give a message, it's not black or white, or it's not anything. It's just, this is hopefully somebody in the room got a little relief tonight. Hopefully tonight someone gets home and when they feel anger about how their kid is, or they feel they can just have their mind remind them a little bit about the good stuff. And just have your mind do a little bit of the good stuff and give yourself a little relief. Remember that if you lost them tonight, you wouldn't remember how they should have been. You will remember how they are. You'll remember how they were. And you won't remember the bad, you will remember the good. And that's all I'm trying to do, is give everyone a little relief. And of course, there's strategic moves and the right thing to do. And we do all that too. And there's getting people into treatment, and there's bad behavior, and there's dangerous behavior that we want to change. There's people that are doing things that it's hard to love them because they're hurting themselves, and we need that to stop. And there's all of it. And then there's a disagreement and a sense of urgency. And all of it's a big tossed ingredient soup that we're trying to all wade through. And we're just here to help. We're just here to stand by you all and guide it. Hopefully find a little joy, a little peace, love, all of that right in the middle of all of it. And I hope that's what we did for you tonight. And
Renee has a question.
okay.
I'll make it quick. Hey, Art, your talk tonight was beautiful. Thank you very much. Means a lot you know, to hear your story too. I've heard that story before and I never get tired of it. And I love your openness, and your vulnerability. I think it's beautiful.
I didn't mean
And
for-
to the parents out there that are in that struggle place about my kid's gonna lose their place to live, they're gonna end up on the street. I sat in that chair, the same chair, and I told Art the same things that you're saying. And I can still feel how afraid I was at that time. And I'm gonna say that maybe the way I looked at it, I don't know if this might help, but if you look at it of all the sleep that you lose and the worry that you have today, I mean, it's not getting any better. I got so tired myself of not being able to sleep and to continually worry. I finally just said, hey, Art, Angie, tell me, what do I have to do? And they just told me what to do. And, you know, I think trust the process. They've seen this thousands of times, and they'll look at your case individually, and they really do try to make it the least painful route to recovery. So they help me, and
It's like a
they
trap.
help my son.
That's their son right here, Nico, by the way.
That's my son. He's Nico. Nico is a beautiful human being. He is. He's kind, and I have my Nico back. You know, he's doing awesome, and just thanks to Art and Angie. So sometimes you have to just, for me, I just had to let go of the control. Let go. Well, I missed that, Art.
I said, me and Angie get all the credit. I mean, Nico's sitting here, but he's just the bump on the log. He hasn't done much.
No.
Nico's like this, and then I get to look at Nico and I go, I did that. And then if he screws up, I get to go, Nico.
Well, what I'm saying is you and Angie helped our family to get to where we are today. And it's my son. I mean, he's a wonderful human being. So it's you, Nico. You're a good human. I'm very proud of you and I love you. So thanks, guys.
Ah, all right. Well, thank you all for coming. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, see you next week in Kent, guys. Good night, good night. See you moms in the morning. Good night, everybody.